On to our new segment. This is a new segment. If you were watching this as a clip on Wiki Good Sports, because that is a plan, please head over to our main channel, Swingin' at Shins, our main channel for this podcast, Swingin' at Shins, to watch it in its entirety. But this is a new clip. We are calling it True False. We're going to take turns reading out statements. Very original name, I know. We're going to take turns reading out statements, and the other person is going to say whether or not that statement is true, false, and why. True or false, and why.
Mind you, we have no idea what each person has said. This is not on our notes. I have no idea what he's saying, and he has no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're using Brian as an in-between. So here we are. I'm going to allow you to go first.
Oh, that's gracious.
I will break the ice for this.
I appreciate it.
What are we doing?
All right, so Brendan Rodgers keeps his job for the rest of the season. True or false?
True. True only because there are worse teams below him, so I don't think he's going to get that close to relegation. And if you're going to replace him, you need to have someone in line, and I have no idea who that person would be right now.
The only reason I think they would keep him currently is to still bring in players. And I don't know how it works with I should actually read up on this. Never mind. I was thinking how coaches' rules and stuff like that, if coach is allowed to come in anytime they want. And obviously that's the case because Aston Villa got
Yes, they absolutely can come in whenever they want.
But I think if they were to sack him, it would be after the window closes because they still want to get players in with some certainty of having a coach at that point.
God, yeah, but that ruins your reputation.
As a ownership, yes. And I don't think
they're the people who actually write the checks.
I don't think this ownership will do that. I think this is actually a good ownership, a wholesome ownership anyway, for sure.
Yeah. No, the answer for me is true because I don't know who else would take his job.
I agree.
Right, here's the first one for you.
Hit me.
Chelsea has spent $400 million.
They have.
And reports are saying that Bowley wants to go to at least 5 with 2 more signings. Will Chelsea make a Europa League spot? Now, right now that is 5th, possibly 6th.
Yep.
If a Champions League or Europa League team wins the FA Cup.
I'm going to go with true. I'm going true. I obviously think that it looks bad right now, but they've brought in a whole bunch of youth with those players, and Mudryk looks good. Badia Shield has played, and he looks good. They still have, and what we're forgetting is that we're halfway through the season still, and that it's going to extend all the way till May. So they're going to get players back like N'Golo Kante. He'll come back around March and push for starts. Well, he'll start immediately once he gets fit. You have, give me a second. I don't know which players are actually out. I shouldn't. They're not my team. They've still got, everybody in that fact. Raheem Sterling, he'll probably come back around the end of February, March, beginning of March. Dennis Sakari. There we go. We'll get there eventually.
He's been on and off.
He'll probably come back in end of March. Ben Chilwell and Reece James probably end of February. So you're going to get quality back.
All those things are great. Here's my issue. I'm going to read off numbers for you. This is why I say it's false. 45, 53, 33, 32, 40, 37, 32, 32, 34, and 22.
What do those numbers mean?
Those are goals scored by the top 10 teams in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. One of them is 10 less than the next closest, and less than half of the league leaders. And it's Chelsea. And the one thing they haven't done is go get a goal scorer. They have a goal differential of 1 halfway through the season. That is not good enough. Anyway, hit me with your next one.
The next one. Eddie Howe is coach of the year.
It's a good one.
Yeah, right.
It's a good one. I'm going to say false.
Yeah.
Not because he's not deserving, but just because I'm really starting to believe if Arsenal win the Premier League this year, Mikel Arteta has to be Coach of the Year.
I don't.
However,
Yeah.
I also think that Newcastle is going to drop off a bit and end up in fourth or maybe even fifth. If the league, if it ended right now,
yeah,
I think Eddie Howe would be Coach of the Year, and I'd be absolutely fine with that.
I still think okay. I don't know how I feel the same way when I ask this question about myself too. For this one, it's tough because last year they sat 19th, and they got Eddie Howe, and he got to implement, and he stayed up.
They spent money too.
They spent money. They got Alexander Isak. They got I'm not sure. Oh, Nick Pope, which is a great goalkeeper, by the way. Love that guy. And they're holding a lot more clean sheets. They're holding a lot more opponents to less goals.
The less goals thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. They've let in 11 goals. Arsenal let in 16. From expected goals, Arsenal's actually a better defensive team.
That's crazy.
It doesn't matter about expected goals. It matters what you're doing.
Yep.
And having that, I mean, and I take expected goals with a grain of salt. Man City always outperform their expected goals. And they do it so often that it's not a fluke. They're just getting the most out of what they have options for.
Yeah.
And I think Newcastle is defending better in the last moments.
Yeah, they don't lose their head, for sure.
So to reword it a little bit back to you, if the season ended right now, Eddie Howe would be manager of the year. We're halfway through the season. I think that enough's going to change halfway through the season that he won't be anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say this: if Mikel Arteta and Arsenal play the second half of the season exactly the same way they played the first, I'm not saying they're going to, but if they do, and Mikel Arteta turns Arsenal into centurions, he has to be the manager of the year.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree.
And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but between the fact that I think Arsenal's going to maintain, and we just talked about Newcastle falling off.
Yeah.
That's why my answer is false.
No, I
love Eddie Howe, though.
Yeah. No, he's been.
And if you don't believe me and you're listening on the clip, listen to the full podcast. I was literally just singing his praises. I love Eddie Howe. I think he's a fantastic manager. I wanted to get him before we got Arteta. So, I think everyone who just recently had a manager leave wanted Eddie Howe. All right. Here's a bit of a wild card.
Ooh, love it.
And I kind of wish I asked you this before. I just went and explained why Haaland's actually really good.
Oops.
Martin Odegaard will win Player of the Year.
False. And I don't think it's because Haaland. It very well could be because he is a great goal. What people like to see is goal scoring. Goal scoring is such a big stat. I think people are blind to the other peripherals that players do. I actually think that Saka would be.
Interesting. I did not expect that.
I just think he's done a lot of the right things. He's scored goals. He's been extremely good he's been well on the press. He's been assisting players. He's been a menace all over the field. I think that he's just been a more well-rounded player than Odegaard has.
Yeah, okay. I would argue that Odegaard is definitely the heartbeat, but I'm okay with that. I think it's false because I think it's going to be Haaland still. I don't know how you come in and score that many goals and you don't get it. He's just blowing everything up.
I don't blame that. I don't think it's Odegaard. I think it's somebody else.
Fair enough. I mean, that was the question. All right, what's your last one?
All right. So Fulham have Fulham been outperforming their current position on the table. Fulham have been. I'm sorry. Drop that. Switch to have. True or false? Have they been outperforming their position on the table?
True, but I still think they're a top 10 team.
Okay.
I think if you take Liverpool's early injury crisis away, Liverpool's above them. I actually am. I'm surprised every time I see this. I really think Brentford should be above them too. I think when the season ends with the way Chelsea have signed everybody and the way Villa are playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see both of those teams above them.
Yeah.
But I do not think that Fulham has been outperforming by a lot. I know no one expected them to be the top half of the table. I would not have put them in the top half of the table if I actually wrote out predictions. But I'm starting to think, hey, they're actually this good of a team.
Yeah.
And by the way, Marco Silva is actually that good of a manager. So
I think the lowest position that they should finish is 12th. Like, if everything...
I'd say 11th. I
don't blame you.
Because they should finish above Crystal Palace at this point.
I was flip-flopping around, and I was trying to figure it out, and I think somewhere in that 11-12 range is definitely still a good season for them. And, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, last one for you, sir.
Yep.
The bottom three teams are Bournemouth, Everton, Southampton.
Yes.
That is exactly how we see the bottom three teams at the end of the season. True or false?
You know what's funny is I thought about asking this same question. It's true. The only other team I think that would be a problem, West Ham need to show me more, first off. It was a good start with the 2-0 win. They needed that. Forest have done good bringing their players together to get some cohesiveness, which is...
I'm not hearing a certain team. Have I finally brought you over?
Has a what?
I said, I'm not hearing a certain team. Have I finally brought you over?
I don't know, man. The problem with Wolves, the problem with Wolves is Daniel Podence has been the only person scoring.
I was going to say, the problem with the Wolves is they've scored the least amount of goals by a lot.
Yeah, so if they could sit 17th, man, and that's just how they get and stay up. But
all right,
I could see this being true.
I think it's true. I actually went through it. Now, I did not think Odegaard's going to be player of the year. I made that clear. But I kind of went through and did this is what I think. I want to hear you defend the opposite. That's how I came up with these statements. I looked at this and I went Southampton, Everton, Bournemouth. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like. Because those are the three teams in the worst position to fix themselves. Wolves already made great strides. Bournemouth is a sinking ship. Yes, they had that great run of form for a little bit, but they are just all the way back down. We already heard why Everton isn't going to do anything. Yeah. And Southampton is proving right now that they're just going to go to the championship and rely on the academy.
Look, I told you the only reason that they went and signed Nathan Jones was because they're going down.
Yeah.
They need a coach. It's a totally different beast being down in the championship. You play 44 matches or 46 matches, and it's 2 games every week. You need a coach that knows how to coach down there. It's a totally
West Ham,
breed.
I do not think David Moyes is a great manager, but West Ham he's a good enough manager. I don't think he's a relegation manager.
Yep.
Leeds has been linked with McKennie. I think Marsh is good. He gets results against the bigger teams. Mm-hmm. They will figure out the other ones, but he's getting results against the bigger teams.
I think
Leicester's too good to go down. I said that when Leicester was down in the bottom for the first half. I'm like, there's no way. Leicester's too good to go down.
Yep. Agreed.
Now, when they get their bones picked over in the summer, who knows? And I think Nottingham Forest has shown me enough. Yep. I really do. Now, it's still really tight, and things could happen. An injury crisis happens at a certain team. Who the heck knows?
Right.
But for me, I think that the table is fair. That the 3 teams that are in the worst position to move on are the 3 teams that are currently in the bottom half of the table.
I will say Bournemouth has done some business in the transfer window here. They've signed a couple players, an attacker, and there was talks. I don't remember what Fabrizio had said, but they are trying to improve themselves. They're not just being stagnant.
Transfer window has been crazy.
Yeah.